everything from academics, co-curriculars. It was an exceptional experience. The confidence that comes from your parents, your school actually supporting you is much more important than anything else, right? And I realized that, it is not safe for my fellow citizens that I drive on Indian roads. So I decided that, I'll take a cab or I'll have a driver being used by more than 1.5 million users, right? So we have to ensure that the experience for them and for our clients is as seamless as possible, right?
Yeah,
So,
same drive, same passion, same
we-
time available.
There I realized that, I want to be an astronaut.
Okay.
I would suggest that people should just go and try different things. If they want to play chess, they should just play chess.
Right.
They should explore things before deciding that, this is what I want to pursue.
African wisdom says every morning in Africa, when the antelope wakes up, it knows it must outrun the fastest lion to survive. When the lion wakes up, it knows it must run faster than the slowest antelope or it will starve. It doesn't matter whether you're the lion or the antelope. When the sun comes up, you better be running. And it's one's dream of achieving that impossible goal, be it a meal, be it a job, or a better life that keeps one running. The sun's up. Are you running? Hello and welcome to Ryanites Dream On. Our guest today is someone who was literally off the running block before you could finish the call. On your marks, get set, go. Alumnus of Ryan International School, Greater Noida, Vaibhav Kaushik is co-founder and CEO of Nawgati, which offers a fuel aggregator system. The company was also featured on Shark Tank India. Vaibhav has worked on various government-sponsored projects. He received the prestigious Indian Academy of Sciences Summer Research Fellowship and was presented with the Entrepreneur of the Year 2021 award when he graduated. His college has been the incubator for Nawgati, which has enabled him to be recognized and supported by the Department of Science and Technology, the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology. He has even received recognition as an exceptional startup in the transport category at the National Startup Awards 2022. What an impressive resume. Hello, Vaibhav, and welcome to the show.
Hello, ma'am. Thank you for having me here.
It is completely our pleasure. This series of talking to our alumnus is such a beautiful endeavor, such a beautiful initiative. So we are so proud with your accomplishment that you've done that we are going to literally dig deep holes into your brain and try to get everything out. But we are going to start right from the beginning.
Sure.
Tell us what was school like for Vaibhav the student.
So I studied at Ryan Greater Noida from standard 1st till standard 12th, right? So I graduated in 2016. So it was, I think, one of the best few years of my life, everything from academics, co-curriculars. It was an exceptional experience. And that is why, my siblings also studied at Ryan. Even my cousins, I ensure that, if they are getting their schooling done, they go to Ryan, right, for the first 12 years.
I don't think anybody will believe you because when you're at that age, you want to grow older faster. You want to go to college, you want to get a job, you want to do something in life. And if you say the school days were the best days, this is what I wanted to do and I influenced so many others.
Yeah.
So great. So tell us a little bit about your journey. Every philosopher says that the journey is more important than the destination, without a doubt. Your journey from studenthood to entrepreneurship started because of a journey?
Yeah, so, this journey of like starting Nawgati happened when I was at BITS, right? But the sort of entrepreneurial spirit actually started when I was at BITS, actually thinking of ideas when you look at a problem, right? A lot of these events, like primarily the Iceplex Awards, that happened, I think, in 2009, along with World Scholars Cup, Indian Model United Nations. So that gave me and my, sort of friends the confidence to actually speak more comfortably when you're meeting somebody, meeting clients, right? So this never happens at other schools that are more focused on academics, right? So I feel that when I got the exposure, both domestic exposure and also, when you go to international markets, when I went to Dubai for World Scholars Cup, that was another experience, right? I think because of IFA awards, I took my first solo flight when I was in class 5th, right?
Oh, wow.
So that was again an impressive experience.
Wow, absolutely amazing. You cannot imagine this is na कि वो गर्व से सीना चौड़ा हो गया. So I'm feeling like that right now, saying amazing. So I'm so glad you came. And, surprisingly, guys, when he came in over here, he said, good to see you after such a long time. And I thought he had mistaken me for somebody else. And I couldn't recognize him because obviously Vaibhav, 5th grade, and Vaibhav now would have changed. But I'm really proud of your achievement. So you did World Scholars Cup, you attended MUNS, you participated in all the other programs. What were the other programs presented by the Ryan Group that you did?
So, we used to have theatre festival every year, right? So even though I was not really inclined towards, singing or dancing, but I actually went there, that was a little bit outside my comfort zone. But that is what, Ryan Group pushed other students towards. And that was, again, a good experience. The experience at Indian Model United Nations helped me lead the BITS Model United Nations, which is the largest MUN at a college level, right? Because I was already experienced in attending, managing both the MUN at the national level in MUN, and also for Ryan Great Noida, we did our own version of MUN. So that actually helped organize BITS MUN for like 2-3 years. So I was heading that. And at the same time, for the World Scholars Cup, that debating exposure helped a lot. So when you go to colleges, you get to interact with a lot of people. So once you've have had sort of exposure towards debating, you can put forth your points in a much better manner.
In a more lucid manner.
Yeah, it is very, very, that is why a lot of my college seniors, when they interacted with me for the first time during my first year, they were very impressed. So they would all, create a circle, huddle up around me and say, what were your experiences during your school time? And I was actually more confident than a lot of my seniors at that time because they did not have this kind of exposure during the school time.
Did you ever get a bit Shana about it? Ke apun ko sab aata hai types?
हाँ, definitely. So I think 5th में when I did ये IFA वाला V Shantaram Award, right? उसके बाद से it was like a completely, different dimension. So 6th से लेके 12th तक I ensured I topped my academics, I topped the school and boards as well. तो वो अलग confidence आ जाता है.
So either the people watching you right now are going to be very happy or very irritated because they don't want you to be an all-rounder and an academic stopper. But yes, you did it.
And कोई भी co-curricular event आ रहा है तो because the school loved me, they would, always push के है ना, Vaibhav, you should do this.
Try this, try that.
हाँ, तो सब जगह कोई भी event होता सबसे पहले मेरा नाम डल जाता था उसमें, है ना. They knew कि अच्छा ये कर लेगा. I think that helped a lot. And at the same time, I think in +2, so one of my favorite school teachers, Rashmi ma'am, she ensured कि मेरा school का भी है ना सब काम बढ़िया हो. And even when I was preparing for JEE, तो है ना उसके लिए भी she was very supportive क्योंकि जो core concepts है वो school में ही सिखाए जाते हैं 11th में.
Now, when you told your parents you want to be an entrepreneur, what was their reaction? Because we have a typical Indian mentality, doctor, engineer, lawyer.
Right.
उसके अलावा as a parent we feel insecure कि हमारा बच्चा क्या कर रहा है, क्या पढ़ रहा है, what is he going to do with his future? So what were your parents' reaction?
So, I think I've been very, very fortunate in this case because I'm not a first generation entrepreneur.
Okay.
My dad already has his own business. He's been into real estate and construction for the last 3.5 decades. So most of the commercial skyline in Great Noida has been built by him, right?
All right.
So for him, saying, "K, don't do this business." Actually, he was pushing me for this. He loves the idea more than me, right? He was like, I had the job offer from PayPal when I graduated from BITS. So they were offering me about 30 lakh CTC at that time. So at that time, Nawgati had not really cracked, right? So we were still in the building phase. We were initially trying to get some traction. But at that time, my dad said, it's a small amount of money. You leave it. You give it one more year. You've given it 2 years. Give it one more year. And exactly 1 year later, we hired people for, 20, 25, 28 lakh CTCs. Wow. Right now, we have a 20-member team. So I think that the confidence that comes from your parents, your school actually supporting you is much, much more important than anything else, right? It doesn't matter if you have that business acumen or not. If they're there to support you, you have a safety net.
Right.
That actually drives you.
So did you feel that if I don't make a go of this, I can get back into my father's business?
Because I graduated from one of the top premier institutes of the country, BITS Pilani, I knew that even if I don't crack it here, I'll get a very high paying job elsewhere, because I was very good in my academics at BITS as well, right?
All right.
So that was also, I had a very good CGPA there. So I knew that even if this doesn't work out, I can always go back to the corporate side of things, try it out for a couple of years, then go for an MBA, take the typical,
Route.
Indian household route wahan pe. And my dad was always there to support me, right? But I feel that with Nawgati, the exposure that I've received in terms of, you can't even imagine in terms of, a very small company like ours, cracking deals with these multi-thousand crore companies, these PSUs, and them sort of supporting us, saying that, this product that you have built is magic. That is very, very reassuring.
So that is my next question. There's Dr. William F. Pickard. He's the founder of Global Automotive Alliance. You must have heard of him. He says you approach 100 people for seed capital. 99 are going to say no. How easy was it for you to find that one? Now, you have your angel investors, you have your crowdfunding. Did one say, show me what the other has done? Did the other say, do you have angel investors? How did that work out for you?
So in case of Nawgati, we're operating in a very different sort of sector. It is a very unglamorous sector. Oil and gas, people, when they buy a car, they spend more than the value of the car on fuel.
Absolutely.
Right? It is a very mundane task, going to a petrol pump or a gas station, right? But even though it is a very mundane task, that is actually a very nice business, nice domain to be in, right? So we are optimizing operations for oil and gas companies. We are helping improve the fueling experience of the end consumer. So, and we are the only ones operating in this industry, right? So there is no competition. There's no benchmarking that can happen. So that becomes a little problematic when you're actually raising capital, because investors like to benchmark you against something,
right?
Against a different company, against a competitor. So that, in our case, fortunately, was not there, right? So when we got the first order, from one of the largest gas companies in the country, it was relatively simple for us. But before that order, because it is a new technology, it wasn't proven. So at that time, we were also pitching, this 1 out of 100 metric is actually very true, right? We had pitched to a lot of investors. At that point, they thought, this would not work. But once we got the first client, all those investors came back, say that, we want to.
That's what.
Invest.
So they're waiting, okay, somebody else appreciates and says, yes, this will work. And then all the naysayers will come and say, okay, we are on the same bandwagon.
So this actually happens for a lot of investors. But in our case, once the business cracked, once we got the first major B2B client, it was all sorted.
So
then
just tell us a little bit about what exactly is Nawgati.
Right. So Nawgati is India's first fuel aggregator. We have two offerings. One is a B2B software as a service platform. We call it Aaveg. Aaveg is Sanskrit for impulse. So, there are these cameras at the outlets and all the assets, the dispensers, compressors. So we have built a plug-and-play solution where we deploy devices at the stations, and within, a few hours, the system goes live and it tells you what is happening at the outlet. So if you have, say, 10 petrol pumps, we can tell you what is the turnaround time, what is the waiting time at an outlet, are the number of attendants that you've deployed at the outlet, are they actually there? What is the downtime of the equipment? How many people are actually viewing your station? What is in terms of what is the feedback that people are giving about your pump? How can you respond to it? And on the B2C side, on the consumer side, we have the largest fuel discovery app in the country. We have more than 1.5 million users on the app who use our app to navigate to a fuel station on their route, know what all amenities, what all fuel price, fuel availability, and the waiting time for certain outlets.
Wonderful.
So time is money, right? So if
you make it sound so simple, but I'm surprised that nobody's ever thought of this before. So the question then arises is, how did you think of it?
So, I think right after 12th, I got a temporary DL, right, driver's license. And I realized that, after that 15-day of, this training that you get, I did that. And this guy did not tell me that you're not supposed to accelerate on an incline. So I accelerated on an incline and I hit the bumper a few times, and I realized that, it is not safe for my fellow citizens that I drive on Indian roads. So I decided that, I'll take a cab or I'll have a driver full time.
Okay, so do you drive?
No, I don't drive.
Okay, good.
I don't drive because it is a very difficult thing, right?
Absolutely.
Multitasking
Completely
on a
avoidable.
congested roads पे multitasking not for me, right? So there was this internship that I had in Noida. So I used to take a cab on a daily basis from my home to Noida for 2 months.
Okay.
And what happened was that you can't just stay mum for the entire duration, right? When you're in the cab, you might strike a conversation with the driver. And all of the cab drivers were complaining of one single problem. कि sir, एक बार line में लग गए, we don't know what time it will take.
Okay.
And it eats up 10% to 15% of the daily earnings because they're sort of stranded in the queues,
yeah.
right? So I thought, somebody would have solved it.
Right.
But then we went back, we realized that, nobody did. So we pitched it to the director of BITS and the entire incubator there. And White Society is the incubator. They thought that, this is a wonderful idea. They gave us the first check
Okay.
from Ministry of Electronics and IT's
Okay.
startup program that is there, right? So they gave us that check and we sort of started building the first prototype.
So when you got that first check, did you feel like I've cracked it, I've done it, this is the green signal that I wanted, or all my problems solved, or was it just a little Philip saying, okay, you're on the right track?
So, at that moment, it seemed like a very big win, right? For college students in their third year,
Without a doubt.
any external validation is good, right? So, and startups in general, the entrepreneurial journey is very, very difficult. You'll always have this ups and downs and you have to be very, very patient. So if you keep getting some external validation, most people say that, it doesn't matter, but it does matter. That boost is very, very important.
True.
So if you keep getting the feedback from the customers, from the businesses, from the investors, that sort of helps you understand that, you're on the right track.
Yeah.
So for us, that was that initial hit that helped us survive the entire COVID period.
Okay.
And then we got the first client. That was another big win. And then we raised our seed round.
So a lot of very good startups, you're talking about WeTrade or PepperTap, they couldn't sustain.
Right.
So when you started your entrepreneurial journey, did you feel that it's going to go kaput like the rest of them? Am I going to be able to sustain? What were the hurdles that you faced? Did you ever feel कि बहुत हो गया, let me quit it?
When I had that, I was in the final year. I thought, it is not working out. I had that discussion with my dad.
And he said, लगे रहो.
लगे रहो, एक और साल दे दो, right? So at
So
that
we
point, I
give
was
full
thinking,
credit to your dad.
100%.
100%. All right, great. Now, apart from what kept you going was what your dad advised you to do. Apart from that, I want you to tell me what was your experience pitching for Shark Tank, because that has become kind of a standard for new entrepreneurs, for unicorns to say, okay, I've tested the waters and I think I can make a success of it. What was your experience there?
So, I went to Shark Tank with my co-founders, Aryan and Alap, right? So Aryan is my school friend. Alap is my batchmate from BITS. So we initially we did not want to go to Shark Tank, right? We thought that if you have a D2C product, if you're selling soap, bhujia or biscuits, it makes sense because, the customer
Fast-moving
would
consumer goods.
they'll just buy it immediately. You see it on TV and you'll just book it, right? We thought that a tech company might not click, right, for the consumer. But then what happened was that some of our clients started saying, if you're a startup, why were you not on Shark Tank?
Uh-huh.
And we were like, the Shark Tank fever has actually, reached everyone, right? Be it the businesses, be it the consumers. So we thought, we'll give it a try. So we applied and then we went there. There was again like the shoot that happened in Bombay. It was like an amazing experience, 20 cameras looking at you from all different directions. You're being asked, and our pitch went on for 2.5 hours.
Wow.
So, they'll ask you everything. How's the founder relation? What business are you trying to solve? Again, what was the trigger point? When did you start? All those details. So because they also have to take that decision in terms of, whether or not they understand the business, whether or not they want to invest.
Right.
So it was an amazing experience. I would suggest everyone to go and apply and see how it works out for them.
All right. Brilliant. Now, are you in touch with any of those mentors from your Shark Tank days?
Yeah. So we got investment from Aman Gupta, the founder of Boat,
Okay.
and Amit Jain, the founder of Cardeco.
Okay.
So we are effectively connected to them on WhatsApp. So every
Alright.
2-3 weeks, if something comes up, we can just call them up. That
Wonderful.
this is what we need help with, and this is true for all of our investors, right? So all angels and even the strategic entities that have actually invested in us, they're very, very helpful, very, very supportive in terms of the current ecosystem, startup ecosystem, and the government schemes. They are very, very helpful for very early stage startups. Be it the government funding, there are various schemes that are there, to actually help you get started with the initial seed capital that is sometimes not available.
Yeah.
Because not everyone can go out and ask
True.
an investor, a venture capitalist or an angel investor. The money that comes from these schemes is, you can just approach an incubator, pitch the idea to them, and if they like it, you get the initial capital.
Right.
And that is enough to actually prototype. So you don't have to take that amount of money and build a unicorn immediately, right? Those are the first steps that people can take, sustain for a couple of months, maybe a year, and then go on and decide whether or not it makes sense to raise external capital.
All right. Sounds very, very technical. We are going to come back to Vaibhav, the very, very young, dynamic guy. You've spoken at many symposiums. You've presented your journey. How does it feel speaking at these kind of places where you have people who are much more experienced than you, much more mature than you, speaking on the same platform? Do they feel out of place? Do you feel out of place? How does that feel?
So, nobody feels out of place because I feel that startups help level the entire playing field. So there are people who are much younger than me, 18, 19 years
Really?
kids who, are sort of excelling in their domains.
Okay.
And then there are people who are sort of veterans in the industry. They would, again, everyone brings a different perspective to the same problem. So, even when we have a panel discussion, we know that every day is a learning experience. So we have this tagline, internal tagline at Nawgati, every day is a learning experience at Nawgati. So whenever we go somewhere, whenever we interact with people, we always get to learn something, right? So I try to extract as much value as I can from any conversation that I have with
Wonderful.
people. Yeah.
You've reached a pretty decent stage of your life. What next? Are you going to continue with Nawgati? Are you going to help it grow? Do you want to have another startup? Do you have any other brilliant ideas in that brain of yours? What's next for Vaibhav Kaushik?
So, there's only one commitment that I have, that is Nawgati, so 24/7, everyone in the company, the only focus is Nawgati, how do we take it to the next stage?
Okay.
And that is what we're focusing on. And we want to ensure that anyone who owns a vehicle actually uses Nawgati app, right? And every fuel station in the country gets onboarded to the youve dashboard, right? So that is the vision that we have. And until we achieve it, we'll keep on pursuing, we'll keep on sort of working towards
Absolutely
it.
fantastic. Now, I can see you're passionate about Nawgati. You want to take it to the next level. So, what is your seesaw like? What is a day like in the life of Vaibhav Kaushik? What is your work balance like? Is it heavy on one side? Is it all work and no play? Do you manage to take out time for your hobbies or your interests or your fitness regime?
So, the work-life balance does not exist for, anyone who's starting up.
Okay.
At least for the first few years, So, it is a 7-day work week for everyone, right? Not just for the founders, but even for our core team. Because it is a very young company, a small team. So anything happens over the weekend, we'll just, huddle together and try to solve it immediately, because it is a live product being used by more than 1.5 million users, right? So we have to ensure that the experience for them and for our clients is as seamless as possible, right? So that is what the focus is. And we are very, very young, right? So no commitments, no responsibilities. We hire right out of colleges, right after the 4th year. So, all of us are...
Same drive, same passion, same time available.
So, we ensure that, we try to ensure that the founders and the core team, we work the hardest, right? And the remaining team, we try to give them weekends off. But obviously, when you have a live product being used by so many people, it is very difficult to manage it. But everyone understands it,
Correct. And you're leading by example.
We also want to ensure that, they are a very comfortable working in terms
On
of...
a holiday or a weekend.
No, we have this philosophy that, we work very hard for like 10, 12 months and then we take the team for an offsite.
Oh, nice.
Right. So be it for an event or some other place, we'll just go out and we'll say that, these 10 days.
Okay.
We also work because that is
Naturally.
there, but we'll also party,
Good.
So that is also
Work
there.
hard, play hard.
Yeah.
All right. Now, what advice would you give to the young entrepreneurs? You yourself said you were an all-rounder in school, academic exceller in school. That is the basic Ryan philosophy,
Yeah, right.
excellence in academics and all-round development. So we have so many youngsters, like, you watch something and you say, I can do it. You see an actor and you say, I want to be an actor. You see an entrepreneur and you say, I want to be an entrepreneur. What advice would you give to those innovators, those budding entrepreneurs, of how difficult it is for them, how you would like them to persevere, what are the guidelines you'd want to give them?
So, when you brought this up, so I went to this program. There was this European Space Agency program. I think there was a trip.
NASA.
There was one for NASA, and then there was the European trip as well. So I went for both.
Okay.
When I went there, I realized that, I want to be an astronaut.
Okay.
And then I was also part of this space club, right? So we used to go out for night sky observation in Decembers.
Okay.
Then I thought that, maybe I want to be an astronomer.
Okay.
So, when you're in school, I would suggest that people should just go and try different things. If they want to play chess, they should just play chess.
Right.
They should explore things before deciding that, this is what I want to pursue. So, school, I understand, it is very difficult for them to actually pinpoint that, this is what we want to do for the rest of our lives. So maybe during the university years, my philosophy is different. You need to have a plan B always. You need to have a safety net to actually take that risk. Right?
Absolutely.
Although people who are younger, they can sort of take on more risks, both in terms of investment, both in terms of starting something of their own. Because you can always go back to the corporate life. You can always try something else. Right?
True.
But I would suggest that the best time to start would be in your university years. Because those 4 years, I've seen a lot of my friends, my batchmates are civil servants, right? They crack the UPSC exam. So every year you would have, 5-10 different people crack the exam, right? So they spend the last 2 years studying for UPSC, right? So in the same manner, because there are a lot of incubators across universities in the country, they can just go tell them that this is what they intend to work on, or maybe intern at a startup, see what the hectic lifestyle is like, and see if it would actually work for you.
Yeah.
And then take a call, right? But I think the university years, at least for me, were the best part because they gave you that safety net. If it doesn't work out, you can always sit for placements, right?
Correct. Absolutely. So we've got entrepreneurship. How would you try to convince somebody who's traditionally a job seeker, who wants to get paid at the end of every month, to become a job creator?
So I don't know, maybe, when you become sort of a job creator, employment generator, it takes a very different kind of mindset. You'll not draw a salary for several years, before you actually make the startup, self-sustaining and reach a certain level, right? So the mindset that you're talking about, people who want to take a corporate role, I don't think they'll be able to switch so easily, because I think that this is sort of, once you get the salary on 7th or 25th of every month, it is very difficult to forego it. A lot of my friends, earning close to 100K USD on an annual basis, working in these investment banks, they don't know how to quit, because the entire lifestyle is around those paychecks. But what we sort of discuss about is that we say that you create a corpus, maybe you have some savings for like about 6 months, and then you sort of take the plunge. Because if you think that the startup will not work, you just go back into the job, right? Or there are some options like you take a sabbatical. For a lot of government, employees.
Correct.
The option is you take a sabbatical, work on something, some idea for 2 years, maybe write a book, right? If that works. And then you get back into the corporate side of things.
But it is a mindset.
Yeah.
You had entrepreneurship in your family, your dad was an entrepreneur, you understood what it takes to be there. But for somebody who's traditionally been job seekers, I think it's not an easy transition.
Yeah. I told you, once you get the paycheck every month, it is very difficult to forego it.
Yeah.
So it'll take some time, but I think the shift is already happening.
हो सकता है.
मतलब 1 lakh से ज़्यादा startups है अभी इंडिया में, and nobody thought that this would be possible, right?
Yeah.
Through government initiatives, through universities pushing startups, and the best part is BITS Pilani started like a startup policy, right?
Okay.
So you can take a gap year, work on your startup, and then come back and start continue your degree. If you have a startup, you'll get some grace marks. If you want to intern, you can intern in your own company. I was like, this is fascinating.
Have your cake and eat it too.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
tiffin it and take it home.
Yeah.
All right. So it was really fantastic talking to you. I'm going to give you a Jaldi 5. Okay. And I like to subtitle it as don't think, just answer. So it's going to be very quick. Don't think about it. Literally just immediately shoot out what comes to the top of your mind. First one, I'll give you the first 2 easy ones. Happiest day in school.
I think when I got to know that I was selected for V. Shantaram Award.
Really? Or you're saying that just because I'm sitting here? See that laugh? That laugh?
No. That was the first uptick that I had in my school life.
Okay.
So that was
All right. I'll take it. All right. What about your most embarrassing moment in school?
I don't think I had an embarrassing moment.
How can you have school life without an embarrassing moment?
No, it was, I would say embarrassing moment would be dancing in front of, thousands of people.
Because you have 2 left feet. No problem. So I'll take that. That also is good. So I would say it's one of the safer embarrassing moments.
Right.
Chalega. Okay. Given a choice, what would you opt for? I know you just said you're busy 24/7, but book or movie?
Movies. I love movies.
Okay. We'll again subtitle it. Cable, OTT.
OTT.
Definitely, no?
Yeah,
Binge watching?
Definitely.
Okay. So he doesn't spend all the time in office. Everybody listen. All right. One of the startups you are most inspired by?
I think Zerodha.
Okay. What would you rather do? Learn from your mistakes or learn from others' mistakes?
I think learn from my own mistakes.
Really?
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to say कि दूसरा बंदा बता रहा है भैया यहाँ गड्ढा है यहाँ मत जाना नहीं गाड़ी मैं उसी में ले जाऊंगा गुड़ गुड़ गुड़
नहीं when you actually experience it first hand that sticks longer. तो
चोट ज्यादा लगती है
right.
That way?
किसी और का दर्द महसूस नहीं होता है ना जब तक खुद पे ना बीते.
But wouldn't you want to avoid those mistakes?
Some minor ones, I would like to experience it myself. But
correct.
that is why I have angels and mentors, who
Right.
keep telling us, this is how you should go about it because we've already experienced. I don't want to waste, several years of my life repeating what they've done. But for minor ones, I would like to sort of take that risk.
Vaibhav, that's a very youth answer, saying I'd like to learn from my own mistakes. So I don't know whether it is saying that karne do hum jo kar rahe hain or we want to really follow somebody else's advice. You follow dad's advice, that's why you're here.
That is true.
We can't avoid that, right?
That is true.
It was absolutely enjoyable talking to you today. I want you to come back here one day when you become the shark on the Shark Tank.
That will take a few years, but definitely.
Possible, na? हो सकता है. It's definitely there in the future. Is that one of your goals, one of your dreams?
नहीं हो सकता है नहीं होगा.
हाँ, हो सकता है is a possibility.
नहीं होगा.
Definite possibility.
Definitely होगा.
Chalo, we'll qualify. Definite possibility. So when that happens, then I want you back over here telling us about your experiences. Hopefully you'll be able to share something which maybe excited you, saying, okay, that was great and I'd really like to invest in that. That day is not far ahead. All right?
A few years, but definitely, yeah.
Thank you so much. We wish you all the best for your future. Grow in leaps and bounds. Please keep getting these brilliant ideas because obviously you've got an idea which nobody in this very, very populated country of 1.4 plus billion people have thought about it. So brilliant. Keep going. We wish you all the best. Thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Chairman Sir's vision is the cornerstone of all holistic development all our students learn from. At Ryan, we believe in prepping future-ready students, and Vaibhav truly exemplifies that vision. This is Shubhani Sharma signing off with these words, Ryanites Dream On.